During the Vietnam War, soldiers faced countless dangers: booby traps, guerrilla fighters, and deadly wildlife. But for some, the most horrifying encounters weren't with human enemies. Deep in the dense jungles, something monstrous lurked in the undergrowth, something that left even battle-hardened soldiers terrified. Both American and Vietnamese troops reported encounters with a giant venomous centipede, a creature far larger and more aggressive than anything known to science. Witnesses claimed it reached lengths of 6 to 10 feet, its armored body glistening in the moonlight, moving with terrifying speed. Some even believed it was an ancient guardian of the jungle, striking down those who dared to trespass. Here are the chilling first-hand accounts of those who came face-to-face with this nightmare. One of the most detailed reports comes from an American patrol unit in 1968, deep in the heart of the jungle. That night, they had set up a defensive perimeter, expecting Viet Cong ambushes. Instead, something else came hunting. A soldier standing watch heard an unnatural rustling in the undergrowth, low, heavy, and fast. At first, he thought it was a large snake, but when he shined his flashlight, the beam landed on something far worse. A massive centipede, at least 6 feet long, with thick armored plates and dozens of writhing legs, was racing toward him. Before he could react, it lunged, wrapping its body around his leg, sinking its venomous mandibles into his flesh. His scream woke the entire camp as soldiers rushed to his aid. Bullets barely harmed the creature, its thick exoskeleton deflecting the shots. Only after a soldier managed to hack off part of its body with a machete did it finally release its grip, retreating into the darkness while emitting a horrible, high-pitched screech. The injured soldier survived, but his wound festered unnaturally, turning black, and he suffered feverish hallucinations for days. His team never camped in that area again. While some believe these creatures were simply exaggerated war stories, reports from Vietnamese soldiers tell a similar tale, suggesting this cryptid wasn't just the hallucination of scared men. One chilling case involved a Viet Cong platoon in 1970. As they navigated through the jungle, they stumbled upon the rotting remains of an animal, its flesh partially dissolved, with strange bite wounds all over its body. Before they could investigate further, one of their men screamed and collapsed. A dark, sinuous shape moved in the underbrush, another giant centipede. It had dropped onto the soldier from the trees, biting his neck before vanishing into the shadows. Within minutes, the man's veins blackened, and he convulsed violently before falling silent. The group, terrified, abandoned their mission, unwilling to risk more attacks. Local villagers later warned them of the ma con rit, a legendary centipede demon said to hunt at night and inject a venom so deadly that even its victims' souls would never find peace. Another horrifying account comes from American troops searching underground Viet Cong tunnels. These tunnels were already a nightmare, dark, claustrophobic, and filled with booby traps. But one squad discovered something far worse in 1969. As they crawled deeper, their flashlights flickered, revealing strange scratch marks on the walls. Suddenly, the soldier in the lead froze in terror. From the darkness ahead, a shadow slithered forward, its legs tapping against the tunnel walls. A centipede the size of a man was crawling straight toward them. In the panic, one soldier opened fire, but in the tight space, bullets ricocheted, injuring his own men. The centipede lunged at the nearest soldier, biting him on the face before vanishing into a side passage. The injured man was dragged out of the tunnel, but his face was already swelling grotesquely, his breathing becoming labored. Within an hour, he was dead, his body covered in black, necrotic streaks. Could these creatures have been undiscovered prehistoric predators, thriving in the untouched jungles of Vietnam? Some scientists believe that the region's isolation could have allowed giant arthropods to survive, hidden from the modern world. Others think these stories were war-induced hysteria, blending fear and exhaustion into terrifying hallucinations. But locals remain convinced that the ma con rit still lurks in the jungles, waiting for the next unfortunate soul to cross its path.